Hi, friends. Welcome to Pieces Here, the daily series exploring the architects of enough. Today, we launch our sixth and final theme, The Path of Radical Simplicity, by honoring Henry David Thoreau. He stepped out of society to prove that a life stripped of possessions is a life rich in thought and meaning. Architect of Enough. Henry David Thoreau was an American philosopher, poet, and naturalist born in Concord, Massachusetts in 1817. His life and his most famous work, Walden, remain the cornerstone of Western thought on deliberate simplicity. In 1845, at the age of 28, Thoreau made a radical 2-year experiment. He moved to a tiny, self-built cabin on the shore of Walden Pond, land owned by his friend Ralph Waldo Emerson. His purpose was not to escape society, but to confront it with the profound question, what is the necessary cost of living a truly human life? He reduced his economy to the bare minimum. He grew his own food, bartered for necessities, and spent his time observing nature, reading, and writing. His goal was, in his own words, to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life. For Thoreau, radical simplicity was an active moral choice. By reducing his material needs, he minimized his need for wage labor, thereby freeing up his time, the ultimate wealth, for spiritual and intellectual pursuit. His philosophy of self-reliance extended to the political. His refusal to pay a poll tax as a protest against slavery and the Mexican-American War led to a brief imprisonment and later inspired his influential essay, Civil Disobedience. Someone, likely his Aunt Maria, paid the tax for him without his permission to secure his release. Thoreau was furious because the unsolicited payment abruptly ended his political protest. Thoreau proves that simplicity is never passive. It is a discipline that frees the spirit and creates the clarity needed for principled action. For those looking to live a less cluttered life, Walden is required reading. The Enough Reflection. Thoreau believed that the true expense of a thing is the amount of life you have to trade for it. When we complicate our lives with endless purchases, we mortgage our time, our energy, and our spiritual focus. His famous experiment at Walden was his way of finding the point where money and possessions ceased to be helpful and began to be a burden. Pedro says, Thoreau was so meticulous about his radical budget that he documented the exact cost of his cabin construction, including the half-cent. The total cost was $28.12. What part of my life feels too expensive in terms of time, not money? If I could trade one necessity for more time in nature or with family, what would it be? This reminds me of one of the tips from Peace Stuff Enough, the new companion book to One More Year. You can find it and follow the Kickstarter at avaskolvsbeck.com/Kickstarter. Words to keep. Thoreau's most famous aphorism is a rallying cry for the simple life, a stark contrast to the complexity of the machine age he witnessed. He wrote, "Our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify." He reminds us that complexity is the enemy of purpose. If this daily message has brought you peace, please take a moment to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs it. That was the life and wisdom of our architect of enough for this episode. If their story has inspired you to seek your own path to less consumption and more contentment, then please step off the treadmill with me. Let's learn from the architects of enough and discover together that for our planet, for our community, and for ourselves, peace is here. To follow my work, including the new book, Peace Stuff Enough, the entire Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series, and the podcast archive, visit avaskalfsbeck.com. That's also where you can find the link to my current Kickstarter. Our music is Dalai Lama Riding a Bike by the talented Javier Peque Rodriguez. You can find links to his music on Spotify and Bandcamp in the show notes. Thank you again. Listen for the peace.